What is going on, guys? We are now at the finale of Taboo, Tom Hardy and Ridley Scott's little baby, and whew, I didn't expect it to go out in a bang. Now, what was so good about this finale was a lot of the closure of a lot of the different characters, but maybe of a sudden future, perhaps, of a season 2. I don't know if there's going to be a season 2. I hope there's a season 2 because it's kind of set up that way, but boy, is there a lot of good things to like in this finale. First of all, there's a couple of deaths. There's definitely a couple of deaths. There's one particular death that's crazy, man. Like, I was like, oh shit, it went that route, really? I was like, okay, all right, fine. Whoa. And man, there is just a lot of great interactions in here, just like the last episode. There's a lot of great kind of cunningness in this episode, a lot of ace in the sleeve in this episode, a lot of what James has kind of like this master plan. We've known that he's working on his ultimate goal is to sail and to America, and basically he's you think he's insane, but it seems like he knows what he's doing. Well, that all comes to fruition in this episode, but there's twists and turns when we get to the main, towards the end of this episode. That was really, 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 really good. What I really liked in this episode was a chemist. I love the chemist. The chemist was crazy in this episode. I love that character. That character is just so really kind of out of his mind. He seems like he's a drunk. He's a ladies' man, but he's a smart motherfucker. And I love him in this episode. But who I really love too is James. I think James really showcases that this dude, he is really cunning. He knows what he's doing. Tom Hardy really knocks it out of the park in this episode. I mean, Tom Hardy's not going to give you a crazy performance like maybe like in Bronson, if you ever seen that movie. He's good for what he does. He's very subtle in a lot of his exchange to a lot of people, especially Strange. Like, there's a scene in this episode with him and Strange. You know, from last episode, he wanted one-on-one with Strange, and like they get that one-on-one, and it's like so like cat and mouse, and where it's like chess pieces moving around the board, and who's gonna say checkmate throughout this whole season. And during this episode, it's like I do remember a lot of his grunts or his little like snickering, but like quiet snickering. I like it. I really like his performance throughout the season. Another one was the actress in this episode, and I was wondering what her fate was going to be. And it was a very interesting how she was in the web of James as well, and a lot of things that were circling around in this episode, because there's a lot of delivering a mail. There is actually action in this finale, which I was very surprised. Like I said, there's a lot of twists, there's a lot of turns, there's a couple of crazy deaths in this episode, and you just kind of like your heart starts pacing once you get towards the end of the episode, and it's like, what is going to happen? I mean, he interacts every character that you got introduced from the beginning and then throughout, he interacts with, or there is something that character does in this episode, which I really appreciate. That some of these characters, like, what were their fates? Like, there's a lot of, even characters that were just barely in the episodes throughout the season, they do have something to do, or it kind of just closes all ties, which was really good. And I really appreciated what the director, writers, and just overall the people behind this series. Now, like I said, there might be a season 2. It possibly could be a season 2. I don't know. I don't know if I thought this was just like, a little mini series and that was it. But I don't know how much the popularity is. It seems like there's a lot of people interested in the show, a lot of people who enjoyed the series and the season, and there's a lot of people that kind of had negativity towards it. But for me, I really loved the show. I really thought it was great. I thought it was gripping. The one thing that I really loved about it was that it was interesting. And if you can capture my interest and you can capture my attention throughout an episode, especially with this kind of era and these kind of characters, then man, it's done its job. And by all means, it's not the most fantastic show in the world like Game of Thrones, or I even would say Breaking Bad or Sons of Anarchy. But it's kind of up there. It's a great caliber show. It's great performances. It's great set pieces. It's beautiful design work. It really gets you into that world. And I mean, there's characters in here that I really like Brace. I really liked Brace in this Brace in this episode the actor really conveyed some emotion in here. Atticus, I really like Atticus. I think Atticus is the type of guy where he's like a thug, he's like a killer, but yet you kind of have attachment towards his character and you hope nothing comes to harm in this episode. And the same with the actress. I really like that character. I really like that character and what she's been, and she does help James somewhat in this episode. He helps her, or she helps him, and it's really it's great characters. I mean, there's some good characters. Of course, like I said, throughout the season, I didn't really like the casting of his Tom Hardy sister. In this episode, she showcases that she's fine in the role. I'm not saying that she's horrible. There's some moments where she's really good. I think she's fine in the role. It's crazy, her story with James in this final episode. I really feel like, was she really needed? Was she really that much needed? But I guess she is, because that is part of James's, that's his connection to that certain area and to this world. So, yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's kind of a bummer, because I was hoping this character would be a little bit more developed or do a little bit more interesting things, and she does a little bit more interesting things towards the end of the series. But I was kind of wishing that her and James's story will be a little bit more interesting, especially in this episode, but it kind of goes out as a little bit of a whimper. Taboo is maybe not for everybody, but for me, it was really good, and I really did enjoy a lot of the elements in this season, a lot of elements in this show. I think it was a fantastic, well done show, and I think it was never boring to me. It always had something, and especially the performance of Tom Hardy. I think what really kind of showcased is like that character James. What was James up to? And it all led up to this finale, and I think it all paid off quite well. I think a lot of people might be a little bit kind of mad at the ending of this, or the finale. Maybe not mad, but maybe a little unsatisfied. But I was very satisfied, and I look forward to maybe a season 2. If there is a season 2, that'd be cool. If there's not, that's fine, I guess. But overall, I did enjoy this finale. So thank you guys for listening. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate it. Like the video if you like, and comment below. Love to hear you guys' thoughts on Taboo. I'm Dan, Daniel's son. See you guys later.